Aren't you tired of all those fad diets? What if I told you the secret to better nutrition is in the diets of the past and not the current ones? Let me share some information and tips to help you eat as your ancestors did so you can feel more energized and connected to your roots. Hi, I'm Kimmy. Thanks for watching this video. Continue to listen to hear more about ancestral nutrition and how we can modernize it to fit our new ways of life. So, the traditional ancestral diets contribute to better health and longevity. Our modern diets are filled with processed foods and have an impact on our health in comparison to our ancestors' eating habits. There are various ancestral diets from different cultures, of course, and all of these different diets highlight essential foods. They highlight different preparation methods, and each individual diet from each individual culture from all our various ancestors have different nutritional benefits. Eating like our ancestors did. It leads to improved well-being, to include overall health, better hair, better skin, vitality, just overall just being a better person, all because of the ancestral diet and eating unprocessed foods. Eating like our ancestors did will help in discovering secrets to a healthier, more balanced diet. I had a detailed conversation with my mom about the foods that they ate, long time ago, 8 years ago. And she explained to me how my grandmother actually had many different ways and different methods of handling foods in the way that they would could, like make the food, and the alternate practices and the differences, the way that they would handle food back then compared to how food is handled now. So all the differences was in the food handling. There was differences, alternative practices in processing the food, alternative practices in the production of the food and growing and raising the food compared to how it was back then versus now. We live in an industrial society. It's not that many people out here really growing and taking care of their food and cultivating their own foods according to their culture, especially in the United States. Our food is so industrialized now, where our food looks almost unrecognizable compared to the food that was eaten by our ancestors. They mainly grew fresh foods grown on a farm. The foods that they ate back then was farm to table. They would literally go out and pick their food and then bring it in, cook it, and eat it. I mean, completely and totally unprocessed, fresh foods. Very little meat was eaten, as far as my mom told me, as far as my ancestors and how they were raised a long time ago. They ate meat, but they ate meat in small amounts. It wasn't not even half of the amount of meat that is in the modernized diet. That she told me that they would only eat meat on certain occasions. They would not eat meat on a regular basis. She also told me that maybe one or two meals a week contained a small amount of meat just for that one meal. Like maybe dinner, maybe on a Monday and a Thursday, they would have meat and it would only be a small amount of meat. All of the other meals were they did not have meat. So it was basically farm to table, all vegetables, or like maybe bread, something like that. But they had very little meat. But mainly through the week, she said it was vegetables, grains, nuts, seeds, fruits, any breads or desserts was all fresh baked. They did not really go to the store or buy anything like how you go to the store in the middle of the grocery store. Is all of the processed foods, all of the cookies and the chips and everything that's shelf stable is in the middle of the grocery store. All of the fresh food is along the walls of the grocery store. So all of the whole foods is along the walls of the grocery store. All of that processed food that's in the middle, like they did not even shop in the middle. They wouldn't even go in the middle of the store. Everything was always along the edge. She said once, when they would go to the grocery store and buy stuff, that they didn't really buy anything that was like processed in the middle of the store. So she also told me they didn't have sugary drinks. They would only drink water, tea, coffee. They had very little sugar. And if they did sweeten anything, it would be with honey or they made fruit syrups. They didn't really have like, very like, lots of sugar, like artificial colors and stuff like that. Everything was like all handmade, very pure, clean, natural foods. This is the way they would eat back then. So, also, using traditional cooking methods compared to our ancestral food choices, we will have to, in order to adapt or adopt our diets to ancestral nutrition, we will have to eat the foods that fueled our ancestors' bodies. So, we would have to completely and totally change our diets compared to the modernized diet versus the ancestral diet. We would pretty much have to ditch the processed foods, and the modern diet is pretty much making us sick, and adopt a more natural, sustainable approach to eating. The ancestral nutrition overall will improve your health, increase your energy levels, and it will even reduce the risk of chronic diseases and chronic illnesses. So, in conclusion, explore ancient wisdom of eating like our ancestors did. Take your time and research on your own based upon your culture and your heritage and background, and find out which are the foods that were essential to your ancestors and begin to put them in your diet. So, like our ancestors did, and start feeling the benefits for yourself.